A very good Thursday evening to all our viewers. This is Primetime News coming to you live and direct from the Newsfirst Center here in Colombo. I'm Joel Outscoon.
And I'm Sonali Vanik-Badage. We start off first with a look at the stories making headlines tonight.
Cabinet spokesperson says Parliament will be dissolved after the 20th Amendment is adopted. Former President Rajapaksa to move into President Sirisena's residence. Prime Minister informs Parliament that the former President is staffed with sufficient security. National program to collect 1 million signatures for the March 12th declaration commences.
මුළු පාර්ලිමේන්තුවම කදිප්පුකාරයෝ කුඩුකාරයෝ කැරදුකාරයෝ මුදලාලිලා ජාවාරම්කාරයෝ සියල්ලෝම මේක අරන් ගන්නවා.
Expose on a racket selling intoxicating tablets to school students in Colombo. Soldier sentenced to death over the murder of 8 people in Merusobel, Jaffna, 4 acquitted.
President Maithripala Sirisena has echoed the need for a streamlined program in solid waste management, the dearth of which poses a serious threat to the environment. Speaking at an event at the auditorium of the Ministry of Mahaweli Development, the President said that all public and private sector institutions must fulfill their duties diligently.
A discussion on Mahaweli development took place at the Ministry of Mahaweli Development under the auspices of President Maithripala Sirisena. Special attention was drawn to solid waste management and solutions that can be provided for the issues that have arisen over the current projects were also discussed at this meeting. The President's media division went on to say that the attention of authorities were also drawn to the issues that have arisen in the dam protection project as a result of a lack of transparency. Moreover, attention was also drawn towards people who have lost their lands as a result of the Moragahakanda development project. Ranjit Siyamalapitiya, the State Minister of Environment, Vasanta Alubihare, the Deputy Minister of Mahaweli Development and Environment, General Secretary of the Citizens Front, MP Jayashree Ranga were also present for this discussion. A discussion in this regard also took place at the auditorium of the Ministry of Environment in Battaramulla.
Senior government ministers have been repeatedly saying that elections are around the corner and it seems inevitable that Parliament will be dissolved sooner rather than later. The only if that remains is whether the 20th Amendment will be passed before fresh elections are called. We take a look at some of those views expressed today. The request of the minor parties are very important, but the leaders you speak of aren't from minor parties. It is difficult for political parties to develop the country. Politicians calculate the benefits they can get by criticizing our good governance. That is how I see it and understand it. Have they been able to even propose the 20th Amendment and create a common stance around it? Everyone was for the 19th Amendment because the President's powers were reduced. Everyone sprung and came forward to support the 19th Amendment like heroes to curtail the powers of the President. But when it comes to curtailing their own powers, they start making the calculations. They say the red flags have been raised. But all this must come to an end. We can't just talk back and forth about this every day. I am of the firm stance that this should be so. Though the President's intentions are to pass the 20th Amendment to the Constitution and dissolve Parliament, due to major interferences, the President will be compelled to dissolve Parliament in the near future. We say over and over again, such interferences are completely unfair. By September, a new government will be established, so you can estimate as to when an election will be held.
The Prime Minister had to respond to questions posed in Parliament today about the security detail and official residence of the former President. Opposition parliamentarian Dinesh Gunawardena clashed with the Prime Minister and demanded a guarantee that the former President will be given a residence to conduct his official duties.
We were of the view that the house located down Vijay Rama Road will be given to the former president once the present president moves to Paget Road. If there is a delay in that, we can give a different house. Mahinda Rajapaksa has been provided with 105 police officers and 3 ASPs. 14 officers from the army have also been provided. There is a colonel who is in charge of the ranks. There are 104 personnel from the armed forces. This includes personnel from the navy as well. The Sri Lanka army has provided 3 motorcycles, 1 car, 3 Land Cruisers, 3 Defender Jeeps, 2 double cabs and 2 single cabs. In addition, 4 trucks and 2 buses have also been provided.
Signal cab 2යි, truck 4යි, bus 2ක් ලැබලා දීලා තියෙනවා. වාහන නැහැ. එයාට රාජකාරී කරන්න. ඒ ඉල්ලීම වෙලා තියෙනවා ආරක්ෂක අමාත්‍යාංශයට.
We will speak to the IGP and the president and provide another truck or a bus. We can look into this and provide the vehicles. The best Benz car in Sri Lanka is a high security Benz. There is nothing better than that. He took one of those. Then there is a high security BMW Jeep. The president still uses the old one. I am using an even older version. A litre of the high security Benz cost 750 rupees. For both diesel vehicles, 1,200 rupees is given per litre, 600 rupees per vehicle. I do not think there is a shortcoming. There was also high security equipment that was taken up by former president. We did not ask that they be returned. The president does not have them anymore. We have to ensure his security. Based on the former president's orders, we continue to provide security to KP. We have not removed any of the security. If we do, it will be a threat to him.
You said that you hope to provide the house where President Maithripala Sirisena is currently residing in. We do not know when it will happen. Can you reach an accord that Mahinda Rajapaksa will receive a house to carry out official duties? After the dissolution, you might say it will be done after the next election. Will there be an immediate solution?
We can reach an accord if you do not request for temple trees.
It is you who will request for temple trees.
I will speak with the president and let you know if his security needs are to be increased during the elections. That would be done. As a candidate, that needs to be done. Leader of the JVP parliamentarian Anura Kumara Dissanayake sought clarity today on who holds the position of leader of the opposition. Following this, a heated debate arose in parliament.
The speaker has yet to inform this house as to who the opposition leader is. This parliament is functioning without an opposition leader. However, an individual identifying himself as the opposition leader is currently functioning in that post. If this parliament was valid for 100 days, it should continue. If this parliament was dissolved in a short period of time, we could have maintained the situation. Even dissolution of parliament is not certain. The speaker has announced dates, MPs announced dates, and even the media announces possible dates. The parliamentary proceedings are simply dragging on. However, an official opposition leader has also taken his seat in parliament. When the question of opposition leader was taken up, the General Secretary of the UPFA, Susil Premajanta, was informed by the Speaker about this, following which Susil Premajanta submitted the name of the present opposition leader, Nimal Siripala de Silva. The Speaker of this House has decided that Nimal Siripala de Silva will be the leader of the opposition of Parliament. The General Secretary of the Alliance must pay attention to his MPs. How can he name an opposition leader for Parliament? The decision of the Speaker was announced. He cannot challenge that decision. If the opposition cannot reach a decision on this, call for the dissolution in order to select an opposition leader. There is a rift in the opposition. MP Anura Kumara is expressing a different opinion. You must all reach a decision on this. This is a record-setting parliament. Motions of no confidence have been presented against both the opposition leader and the Prime Minister. Both motions were presented by the opposition.
The national program to obtain 1 million public signatures for the March 12th declaration that aims to accomplish a clean political system commenced at the Independence Square today. The March 12th declaration contains the criteria which should be looked into by political parties when submitting nominations.
A group including religious leaders, professionals and representatives of the civil organizations were present for the opening ceremony to obtain 1 million public signatures for the March 12th declaration. The declaration, prepared by 21 organizations including PAFRIL, including 8 fundamental criteria that should be taken into account by all political parties when submitting nominations. All political parties including the President and Prime Minister have already signed the declaration. By electing our representatives, what we need is to put our children to school and find a good job for them, not make them do their personal work. We want to elect representatives to Parliament who love the country, not those who commit theft and rape. And if we don't do that now, we will never get the opportunity to do so. We will just keep falling lower and lower. We have made a big mistake over the past and now we are facing the repercussions of those mistakes. So the March 12th movement has established to rectify those mistakes. We request all political parties not to put forward corrupt persons, put forward extremely pure candidates. If this current electoral system continues for the next 10 years, all the alcoholics, drug dealers, business tycoons and racketeers will enter Parliament. To prevent this, let's rise together and make our voices heard and place our signatures. Let's make the entire country rise. On the 12th of March, BMICH and agree to 8 criteria and that all 8 will be looked into when submitting nominations during a parliamentary election. But we know that although they place their signatures, the criteria are not being implemented as mentioned for the upcoming election. We must interfere with these political parties and say that you must follow these criteria as you have agreed to it in this parliamentary election.
On behalf of the Hindus of this country, we fully support and endorse this March 12 declaration. This is the basic principles of our culture, particularly the culture of this country where the 4 major religions are practiced. All of us, all 4 religious groups basically accept this. This is what we learned as small children in the school. Unfortunately, our political leaders, when they become leaders and become ambitious, they forget what they learned in the religious classes.
Subsequently, the March 12th movement commenced their island-wide tour to obtain 1 million signatures. The movement that commenced their journey from Independence Square this morning reached the premises of the Kelaniya University this afternoon. Lecturers as well as students of the university placed their signatures on the declaration.
It is better if people with a better understanding on society join politics.
Just and fair persons should be elected.
We would like to see leaders that are not affiliated to drugs, thievery and corrupt activities. If good governance and democracy is to be upheld, proper persons should be elected.
Today's leg of the journey of the March 12th movement to obtain 1 million signatures concluded in Kurunegala. A group of public activists is attempting to raise awareness on the need to elect public representatives with clean backgrounds to Parliament.
Members of the Campaign for Clean and Competent Candidates convened a press conference in Colombo today.
At least 40 to 50% of the representatives in Parliament need to be intellectuals. Party leaders must realize, as seen in the last election, they cannot rely on votes garnered for the candidate. Individual candidates were of the opinion that they could win votes using drugs, ethanol and gambling. We do not endorse such acts. We need this country. We need to create a society that is not detrimental. Since the launch of our website, nominations have been pouring in from the north and south. The nominations that we have received from cities like Jaffna, Mullaitivu, Colombo, Mara and South are all considered intelligent.
Mullaitivu, indala dakune, Colombo, Mahara, dakunatama yanakang. Ada tiyena krame
According to the present electoral system, once a candidate is elected in this country, a voter cannot do anything to change this and must wait till the next election to make his voice heard. Our primary goal needs to be to elect suitable candidates. In order to do that, electoral reforms needs to be produced in Parliament and it needs to be passed.
Onto a story we at News First have been constantly monitoring and following up on. The National Dangerous Drugs Control Board says that the nerve damage caused as a result of the intoxicating pills used among school children is irreversible, and that some of the pills used by school students are used to treat mental illnesses.
News First has received information that the use of intoxicating drugs among school students has risen significantly in the recent past. Information has also come to light that students obtain these drugs from the local pharmacies. In order to understand the gravity of this issue, a News First reporter went undercover today. Our correspondent disguised himself as a private tuition class student, and he first met with a regular customer for these drugs at a pharmacy in Colombo. A reporter accompanied by this individual visited the pharmacy that sells these drugs and purchased 2 pills for 400 rupees. It was noted that the price varies according to the strength of the drugs. Incidentally, a large number of pharmacies that sell these drugs are located in close proximity to a police station.
ලංකාවේ පාවිච්චි වෙන මත් කාරක පෙති අපිට වර්ග දෙකකට බෙදන්න පුළුවන්. මනෝමූලික ඖෂධ වර්ග සහ
We can divide the intoxicating drugs sold in Sri Lanka into 2 categories. One is drugs used for mental illness, and the other are the drugs manufactured by the drug smugglers in Myanmar, Afghanistan, Iran and other countries. When you use these pills once or twice, you will get addicted. The continuous use of these drugs causes damage to the nervous system. Therefore, the nervous system will weaken and people will suffer various illnesses. On most occasions, the students who use these pills feel drowsy during class. When they use it, they feel lifeless. When the nervous system weakens, it is impossible to reverse the effects of these drugs.
ස්නායු දුර්වල වෙන විට අපිට ඒක නැවත රිවර්ස් කරන්න නැවත යථා තත්ත්වයට පත් කරගන්නට බැරි තත්ත්වයකට වුන් බොහෝ වෙලාවට පත් වෙනවා.
Sirasa Shakti News First and the National Dangerous Drugs Control Board will commence its island-wide campaign to raise awareness on drugs among the people tomorrow, in line with International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. The teams will be visiting the districts of Jaffna, Kilinochchi and Mana tomorrow.
Say no to drugs. National program to raise awareness to stop the rapid spread of drugs across the country. Phase 1. On the 26th, 27th and 28th of June in the Northern Province, covering all districts. Phase 2 in the Southern Province. Phase 3 in the Central Province. Phase 4 in the Eastern Province. We will visit your home to create a drug-free country. Say no to drugs. A social responsibility undertaken by Sirasa, Shakti and News First and the National Dangerous Drugs Control Board.
Well, various views were expressed today as well on creating an electoral system through the 20th Amendment to the Constitution that will prevent the corrupt from being elected to Parliament.
අපි ඉන්නේ ආසන 225ට වැඩිය නොයා යුතුයි කියන මතේ. නමුත්
our stance is that the number of seats should not exceed 225, but due to the request of other parties, 237 seats were approved by the cabinet. Several minor parties got together to bring Maithripala Sirisena to power. What we are saying is that even though we do not agree with the opinion of the TNA, we must at the very least listen to it. We reject the notion that Ranil Wickremesinghe is attempting to use minority parties to oppose and eventually stand against the 20th Amendment. As a policy, all parties are in favour of changing this electoral system. It would be better if a certain element of unity can be created if all of us cannot reach a common consensus, and if it is only the two main political parties working together to get this passed by force, that will create a bit of an issue.
සදාචාර සම්පන්න භාවයක් තිබෙන එක ගැන අපිට ඒක ප්‍රශ්නෝත්තරයක්.
අපිට ඉතාම හොඳින් පේනවා මේ ඡන්ද ක්‍රමය මනාප ඉවත් කරන්න හරි ලේසි සමානුපාතික ඡන්දය.
It is very clear that this electoral system and the preferential system can be changed quite easily by enacting the proportional system with 225 seats. They are doing some other nonsense and trying to sabotage the rights that the minority parties have through the proportional system. By not doing so, they are deviating from the procedure in place. It is Mahinda Rajapaksa who is sitting and dancing around Abe Singharama who is behind this. There are puppets inside parliament whose strings are being pulled on the agenda of their leader in Abe Singharama. It is these puppets who are sabotaging these discussions.
නායකතුමාගේ නූල් සූත්‍ර වලින් නටන රූකඩ ඉන්නවා. අන්නේ රූකඩ වලින් තමයි අද මේ සාකච්ඡාව කඩාකප්පල්ලා කරලා තියෙන්නේ.
ලබාගත්තු යහපාලනය පාවිච්චි කරලා මහින්ද මහත්තයත්
Mahinda Rajapaksa and his 40 thieves are using this good governance that was created to resurrect themselves. They are saying that we are worshipping a modern nation. After winning the war in 2010, he was given the responsibility of creating a modern and developed nation. But what did he do instead? You have a big responsibility in the upcoming election to defeat all those connected to drugs, ethanol, fraud and thievery. Even if you vote for the United National Party or the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, cast your vote for the ones who have not been charged of crime, drugs and ethanol. Some of them contest the election by finding money, by making deals and using this money to secure victory. I urge you, the voter, to be wise at least now. Do not go back to the point where you sacrifice your valuable vote for the corrupt. Choose wisely this time. Bring clean and pure people who do not have dirt on their hands to politics. Our suggestion is that the electoral system must only be amended after this huge argument on creating a representation for minority parties and other parties who have a difference of opinion. There is no agreement yet. There is no agreement among the parties in the opposition, neither is there an agreement in cabinet. Look at this in good faith. There are 64 registered political parties in the country. We won't be able to create a system where all 64 of these parties can be brought into parliament. These political parties must realize how to promote their own membership. It shouldn't be the general populace who should decide the number of seats in parliament that has been proposed through this system. The number of parliamentary seats must be decided through a clear and practical system.
පැහැදිලි ප්‍රායෝගික ක්‍රමවේදයක් ඔස්සේ මේ මන්ත්‍රී ධූර සංඛ්‍යාව තීන්දුව වෙන්න ඕනේ.
Minister of Housing and Samurdhi, Sajid Premadasa, says he will not desert the president to face conspiracies by himself. The minister was addressing an event in Lunugambehera.
Minister Sajid Premadasa today handed over financial aid to several agrarian organizations in villages located in Lunugambehera. People who were defeated at the elections are afraid of the electoral system. They are staging various conspiracies in order to divide the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. That is why they are attempting various methods to defeat the passage of the 20th Amendment to the Constitution. I wish to say to you that we in the United National Party, the Prime Minister and the President will not back down. We will not let President Maithripala Sirisena face them alone.
Leader of the Democratic Party, Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca, says that his party will contest the next elections independently. He made this statement at an event at the Democratic Party headquarters.
Appointment letters to new electorate organizers of the Democratic Party were presented at this event. 10 new electorate organizers were appointed today. As per the promises made on the presidential election stage, there needs to be a general election. Therefore, we have taken a decision to contest independently. We cannot be satisfied with the politics of the major political parties and the political culture they follow.
Chief incumbent of the Abhayarama Viharaya, Venerable Muruttetwe Anandathera, responded to views that were expressed regarding the Viharaya.
The Abhayarama temple is 200 years old, but today its name has been changed by certain politicians to Mahinda Ramaya. The Vihara is not at fault. When J.R. Jayawardhan was harassing the people of the country in the 80s, this is the temple where people sought refuge. Even Chandrika Bandaranayaka Kumaratunga stayed here for 11 days straight. Here at the Abhayarama Vihara, we commit conspiracies for a good cause. Back then, we conspired out in the open. Back when Mangala Samaruvira held the statue of Lord Buddha by the neck, we spoke about whether we should let him do that or not. They are not conspiracies when they are committed out in the open. The Abhayarama has never gone wrong in the execution of a conspiracy. The Vihara has always stood up at times when the country was at stake. Mangala Samaruvira, you do not want me to speak about your other side. What I want to say to Mangala Samaruvira is do not throw stones from inside glass houses. The Colombo High Court today sentenced to death a member of the Sri Lanka Army who was found guilty of murdering 8 persons, including 2 children, in Mirisuville, Jaffna. Army Staff Sergeant Sunil Ratnayaka was found guilty of the crime and was sentenced to death by the Colombo High Court. Charges were filed against Army Staff Sergeant Sunil Ratnayaka and 4 others over the killings. 4 other soldiers charged on similar counts were acquitted as a result of the doubts cast on the evidence. The case was taken up before High Court judges Lalija Surya and Preeti Padman Surasena, while the complaint was heeded by Deputy Solicitor General Sarat Jayamana. It was proved in court that 8 people were murdered and buried in a mass grave near Jaffna on December 19th, year 2000.
This is the ideal opportunity for us to show the world how strongly justice was meted out and how impartial and efficient the proceedings were. We can solve our own issues. I do not think that anything similar to the Mirisuville case had taken place in the recent past. We hope to file an appeal for the accused found guilty. However, I respect the decision provided by the bench regarding the case.
Investigations are continuing to locate the girl who went missing from Ellukkadu in Kilinochchi. In a new development, the police media spokesperson noted that information has come to light that the girl has been handed over to another individual in the area. The police are conducting investigations based on this information. It has been 5 days since the girl went missing.
3-year-old Uday Kumar Yarsika was reported missing on the 21st of June. She disappeared when she had gone to bathe in the Shaktipuram reservoir with her cousin. According to this cousin, he could not find her after he came back to the surface after bathing. All the locals, together with the police, searched the entire area hoping to locate the girl. They are yet to find her. Statements have been recorded from 7 people, including the missing girl's mother. The principal of the Urutyapuram Vidyalaya in Kilinochchi said that the siblings of the missing girl had not reported to school for over 5 months and were once again directed towards education. District Secretary of Kilinochchi, Sundaram Arumenayagam, said that children in the district face such situations.
We have been holding discussions on this matter and are taking the required steps. We need to be attentive to the children's ways. We believe that our activities must help reduce the amount of harassment against children. The search continues to look for the missing girl. What happened to her remains a mystery.
You're watching the news at 9. Still in local news, Minister of Aviation Services Reginald Kure says that trade between Slovenia and Sri Lanka has risen to $4 million. The minister made this revelation attending an event held in Colombo yesterday to mark the 24th National Day of the Republic of Slovenia. The event was graced by several dignitaries, including diplomats and politicians.
That tourist arrivals from Slovenia are on the increase, and the economic cooperation between our countries has been grown steadily in the past years. The total trade between two countries, which stood at $3.77 million in 2013, has increased to $4 million and 6.1 in 2014. These are the visible signs of the growing ties between our two countries.
24 years ago, when we started, our GDP was $7,000. Today is nearly $29,000. Let's tell you that Slovenia ranks 11th in the European Union in the innovation area. I would like to say that with Sri Lanka we developed very good relations, and that we believe that the opportunity with the democratic changes in Sri Lanka would bring prosperity to our bilateral relations as well.
Incidentally, the Honorary Consul of Slovenia in Sri Lanka, Sana Tukwata, was elevated to the rank of Consul General at the event.
Sri Lankan motorsports champion Dinesh Deheragoda has signed an exclusive partnership with Sports First this evening.
International renowned Sri Lankan motorsports champion Dinesh Deheragoda and Sports First, Sri Lanka's #1 sports news brand, signed the partnership at the Mirigama racing track. The partnership will see Sports First exclusively covering Deheragoda's local and international events.
Well, first of all, it's a privilege that I have been able to join hands with Newsfirst and Sports as one of the leading news channels in Sri Lanka. It is not only in Sri Lanka that I'm sure that the publicity would be held. It will be beyond the borders of Sri Lanka, and at the same time, it's the second time that I'm hoping to take part in the Asia Cup Championship for the Asia Pacific Rally Championship. I was successful in becoming second out of 11 drivers last year, and I'm very much focused and determined to do my best for the country, so that hopefully be one notch above from last year's result.
Former Indian President Dr. Abdul Kalam is expected to arrive in the island tonight. The former Indian President will be making a keynote address at the International Symposium on Energy Challenges in the Knowledge Economy tomorrow in Colombo. Now, Newsfirst Chaturanga Habrachi joins us from the Bandaranaike International Airport with the latest. Chaturanga, what's the latest?
Good evening. A Newsfirst team is currently standing by at the Katnaik International Airport. We are here to witness the arrival of Dr. Abdul Kalam, former President of India. He is due to address the Energy Symposium in Colombo tomorrow. The media sponsor for the event is, of course, Newsfirst. If I am to tell you about the situation here at the Katnaik International Airport, you can see behind me that police officers and MSD officials have been deployed on duty for the security of former President Dr. Abdul Kalam. We will bring you the latest details of the arrival of Dr. Abdul Kalam here from the Katnaik International Airport. Stay with Newsfirst. I am Chaturanga Hapuarachi.
Starting off with some cricket news, off-spinner Tharindu Kaushal grabbed 5 wickets as Sri Lanka bundled out Pakistan for 138 on the opening day of the second test against Sri Lanka in Colombo today. Seema Damika Prasad chipped in with 3 wickets as the tourists collapsed in 42.5 overs by tea after skipper Misbah-ul Haq elected to bat on a fresh bouncy pitch at the Pisara Oval. Sri Lanka made 2 changes, replacing off-spinner Dilruwan Pereira and seamer Nuwan Pradeep with Kaushal and Chamira.
Shifting gears from some cricket to athletics, Sri Lankan sprinter Nimali Liyanarachi won the second leg of the women's 800 meters track event at the Asian Grand Prix 2015.
The second leg of the Asian Grand Prix 2015 commenced today in Pathum Thani, Thailand. Nimali Liyanarachi clocked a time of 2 minutes 6.14 seconds to win the women's 800 meters track event. Gayantika Abeyratne, who also competed in the event, was placed third, clocking a time of 2 minutes 6.62 seconds.
Sri Lankan motorsports champion Dinesh Deheragoda signed an exclusive partnership with Sports First this evening.
We end tonight's news with footage from the Mirigama racetrack.
Well, for the Newsfirst team, I'm Joel Outspoon.
I'm Sonali Manikpati.
Good night.